Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and this is Mukta here. Today I have a tutorial where I'll be showing you how to make Christmas cards. Now these are pretty simple cards, though it looks like it's not, but it hardly took me 90 minutes to make three of these cards, and one I made in the morning, and I really like the way it turned out, so I decided to do a tutorial for you all. So let's get started. First you're going to need panels to do your coloring and embossing and all that stuff. So I've taken three 5 by 7 inch panels, which is a standard A7 card size, and this is watercolor paper, but you can use whatever you have. I've used watercolor because at that point I did not know if I'm going to use watercolors or not. Apart from this, you'll need stamp set. I'm using the Mudra stamp set, Christmas decor and wishing you stamp set for sentiments, and I'm going to use these two together to make my card. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the snowflakes from the stamp set, and that is what I'm going to stamp randomly on my front panel and then clear heat emboss it. So to do that, you first need to prep your surface. By prepping, I mean that you need to nicely coat it with the anti-static powder, because we are going to do heat embossing, and if you don't use the anti-static powder, there will be stray embossing powder on your surface, and once heated it looks really bad. So don't forget to prep your surface. Now I'm going to use my acrylic blocks. If you don't have an acrylic block, then you need to get one for stamping. That is basic. You can also use a stamping platform. A lot of people who mass produce use stamping platform. There is My Sweet Petunia, Misty, and then there is Tim Holtz. I don't have a stamping platform because I don't make cards that often, so I'm happy with my acrylic block. So here you can see I'm using the clear heat embossing powder by Ranger. So I'm going to stamp one size snowflake at a time on all three panels, and then heat emboss it. So it's easier to mass produce cards when you're doing the same thing over and over again. So here you can see that I'm still adding some embossing powder, and once that is done, I'm going to heat it. To make these three cards, it took me 90 minutes, and I have sped up the video crazy because I didn't want to bore you, and it was just repetitive process that I was doing over and over again, so I didn't want you guys to see that, though I shot the entire 90-minute long video. But then I did a lot of cropping and speeding and trimming the video, and it is now around like 15, I think 15 minutes, I'm not very sure, 14-15 minutes, yes. So here you can see me heating the embossing powder. Your gun has to be really hot before you get it to the powder, otherwise it won't melt that quickly and your paper will start warping, so you don't want that to happen. Now you'll be able to see a little shine, and it was very difficult for me also to make out where I had stamped. Now that it is heated, I can see it much better. Now I have come with a medium sized snowflake, and I'm just stamping it randomly. There is no particular pattern in where I'm stamping. I'm just stamping to fill in the gaps, and I'm going to repeat it for all three panels. Now you can see me coming back with the smaller size snowflake. So before I added the last snowflake, I went back, I went back and heat embossed everything. But then, as I told you, I trimmed it off the video to save some time. So here you can see I'm just adding powder to the last embossed snowflake, what I'm trying to emboss here, and there's some quick heating and the panels are ready. Now there are three things that you can do to color your panel. One is you can use watercolor, one is you can use distress ink, and you can also use your dye ink pads, which is going to be tricky to move and blend very well, but you'll see me do that, and it was it was not such a good idea, but I think I just managed to scrape. Okay, so for the first card, you can see I've used shaded lilac and hickory smoke. I think that is the distressing that I'm using, and I'm just blending these two together. I wanted to use actually non-traditional Christmas colors, so I wanted to go towards the color scheme of snow and create that kind of whimsy. So that is why I have chosen gray and shaded lilac. Usually Christmas cards are red, gold, and green. So these are typical Christmas colors, so I decided not to do that. So I decided to use blues and lavenders and grays and such colors. So you can see that. My first panel is done, and after my panel was done, I spritzed it with water. That is the beauty of using distressing, because you can it is water reactive and you can pick some color up. And here you can see that I have used I think I'm not very sure, but I think it was crushed olive, a little bit of hickory smoke, and this is a dyeing pad. That is where I messed up. I did not have the perfect Christmas green color, and I used the dyeing pad by Tubby Craft, and it was so difficult to blend. My hand started to hurt after a particular time. So, I just got lucky that it did not look that patchy, but not a great idea. I would never do that again. All right. So now the panels were ready. Now I'm ready to assemble the cards, and I decided to use a little glitter paper. Layer my panel with some glitter paper and some white cardstock to create a little more interest and dimension. I'm going to send this to my relatives in US. So I didn't want to add a lot of bulk. So that is why I wanted to keep it, as flat as I could, with just a little dimension, so that the cards are not too bulky or heavy. Usually, anybody who follows me knows that I like to do shabby chic cards where I add a lot of flowers and other stuff. But it's not such a good idea when you're sending it abroad. So that is why I decided to do flat cards with just little dimension. So that's why I'm adding the dimensional foam tape here. So you can see I'm going to layer it behind a white cardstock, then the glitter paper, and then the card panel. It looks so nice. So I did the same thing for others as well, other card panels as well. I trimmed them and I added dimensional foam tape behind. Now you can see that I have come back with the vellum, and I am using my sentiment. So I have this trimmer and it has this grid lines. So that's what I'm using to align my stamp, right? And I'm going to heat emboss the sentiment on the vellum as well. So to do that, first you have to again prep your surface with some anti-static powder. It's really not a good idea to heat emboss without using the anti-static powder. You will just mess that up. So I've stamped it once, and this time I'm going to heat emboss it with superfine gold. Here it's a fine detail embossing powder by Ranger, and it's really nice. It is really good for integrate sentiments and other stuff. So I embossed it. I stamped it two more times, and then I trimmed it. Yeah, that's what you can see me doing. I'm trimming it right now. I stamped it twice, and twice more, because we were making three cards altogether and you needed 3 centimeters. So that's what I'm doing here. Don't judge by my trimmer. It's in an awful shape. I've been wanting to buy one since so long, and I just feel it's okay, maybe one more year, maybe 6 more months, but now that I see it in the video, I really need a new trim. Okay. So yeah, I'm also trimming my card panels. Now that you look at it, you don't really come to know that I use dyeing pad. That was one reason why I did not discard this panel, or did not or hide the fact that I used a wrong ink pad for blending. I wanted you to see that you can always do something to correct your mistakes and make do with it. You need not throw it right away. So my blade was obviously ruined. So I had to trim my panel a little with my scissor because it was leaving these frayed edges. All right. So apart from just the snow, if you do not have a snowflake stamp, I would you can use stencils. You can use a snowflake stencil. If you do not have a snowflake stencil, then you can make your own stencil. There's a lot of things that we have in our stash, and we really do not use it enough. Like, at least for this stamp set, I had used it last Christmas and I'm using it this Christmas. So that is how much underutilized our craft supplies are, and we just keep on adding more and more and more. Okay, so you can see that I have completely layered my panel, and now I'm trying to add my sentiment. So I'm going to add my sentiment in a way that it is not covering up my snowflakes or something, but it's just giving a peekaboo look of my snowflakes. I was just arranging it here and there, and I'm just going to adhere it using the same taking the help of the same foam tape that is behind. And once my sentiment was adhered, I came back with a waxed cord, I guess. Yes, it is a waxed cord in white, and I'm going to tie a bow in front and leave it. And that was just simple decoration that I wanted to do. So once I did that, I peeled off all the tape paper over the dimensional tape, and just for extra support I'm just using little white adhesive. This is fabric glue by Fevicryl. You can use anything else, but that is what I had in hand. So this is a very important thing that you see me doing. I always put my cards or anything which I've adhered in a heavy book and put some weight over it so that everything lays flat, and it gets completely nicely adhered. So all three cards are now assembled and ready. Now what I'm doing is I'm just taking a stamp. This is again from Mudra, and there are these nice sentiments like handmade for you, handcrafted with love, all these beautiful sentiments, and I'm stamping them behind the card, and again heat embossing them in gold. You can see that it looks really nice and it gives that finished look to your card. So that I did for all three of them. Now I came back again with my cards, and I decided that I had to add something on the inside because it was looking really plain. So I again did the same thing that I did for my panel. I took 5 by 7 white cardstock, and I stamped them with snowflake, and then I divided them in three equal parts. I ink blended each of them with coordinating colors, splattered with water, and did all that stuff, and then just gave it a nice wonky cut with my scissor. And that is what you see me adhering on the inside, and that just finishes the card so well, because it was so empty on the inside and it was not looking that great. Now that you see, it looks much nicer. So my cards were ready, and now it was time for the envelopes. I made these envelopes myself. It's really easy to make them. For a standard A7 card, you need 10-inch by 10-inch paper size to start your envelope. And if you use your Martha Stewart scoring board, there is an attachment that comes where you can make your own envelopes, and I use the same one to make my envelopes. I've never had any issue with that. So I'm just dressing my envelope as well because I didn't want it to look dull while my card was all sparkly and Christmassy. So whatever scraps I had left, I'm just using those to dress my envelope a little more. I was not happy with this much, so I decided that I need to add a little more extra touch to it, and I embossed some snowflakes on the envelopes as well. I embossed three of them, one big, one medium, one small, in a diagonal fashion, and I embossed them with white embossing powder. My stamp seems to be losing the stickiness. I need to clean it well. Okay, so it was not even stamping that great, but it's okay. It's an envelope, so it's okay. You need not take it that that much to your heart. Anyway, so now you can see that I have stamped it. I'm just adding the embossing powder, and I'll just quickly heat it. So once this was, I'm so sorry, I have a itch in my throat. Okay, so once this was done, I'm going to add a little sparkle dotties or sequins to the card to in the places where there are snowflakes, just to add a little bit of sparkle to my card because it was having no shimmer or shine except for the glitter paper. But then that's what you see me doing. I'm just using the same fabric glue and little sparkle dotties here and there just to rest my card. So I made three of them with you guys, and one I had made in the morning that I'm going to again show you at the very end. So there are four cards which are in different combinations completely. So the ones that we made, one is gray and lavender, one is green and dark green, another one is blue and lavender, and the one that I made in the morning was gray and blue. So those are the four cards, and you will be able to see just in a minute once I'm done adding all the sequins. So this is one of the designs that I thought of. Now you can again do something else for Christmas. Like I'm also planning to make shabby chic ones. I don't know if I'll be doing a tutorial for the same, but I will be doing shabby chic ones, and maybe if I do a tutorial, I'll post it soon. So here you can see that I'm finishing up my card with some sequins. Okay, I'm almost wrapping it up, and we are at the very end. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. And I really hope that you got some inspiration from this and you'll make some cards. And if you have anything to ask me, please email me, and I will revert back. I usually take a day because sometimes I get a little busy, but I will revert back. Leave your comments and hit the like if you did like my video, and subscribe to my channel. And if you do not want to miss any videos by me, then hit the the bell icon, and you'll never have to miss anything. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.